These are the most dangerous countries in Africa. Yo, what's up guys, it's Joel. Today we're diving headfirst into a topic that'll have you on the edge of your seats, the top 5 most dangerous African countries. We're talking war zones, pirates, kidnappings, the kind of stuff you see in action movies, but this is real life. We're going deep into the heart of these countries, uncovering the stories, the dangers, and the reasons why you might want to think twice before booking a trip. It's going to be intense, it's going to be informative, and it might just change the way you see the world. But hey, before we go full Bear Grylls on this thing, make sure to smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the crazy adventures we've got lined up. First up, we're heading to the Horn of Africa, to a place that's practically synonymous with dangerous Somalia. Imagine a country where the government barely has control, where pirates rule the waves, and where terrorist groups like Al-Shabaab are constantly wreaking havoc. Yeah, it's that intense. For decades, Somalia has been ravaged by a brutal civil war. Think about it, generations have grown up never knowing peace. Warlords and militias are constantly vying for power, leaving the ordinary people caught in the crossfire. It's a humanitarian crisis that seems to have no end in sight. And if the fighting on land wasn't bad enough, the waters off the coast of Somalia are some of the most dangerous in the world. We're talking about modern-day pirates, guys. These guys are armed to the teeth, hijacking cargo ships, taking hostages, and demanding huge ransoms. It's like something out of a Hollywood blockbuster, but this is the harsh reality for anyone daring to sail these waters. But amidst all the chaos and violence, there are still people trying to survive in Somalia, families trying to stay together, kids trying to get an education, everyday heroes trying to make a difference. It's easy to just focus on the danger, but we can't forget about the human cost of this conflict. So yeah, Somalia is definitely a place you don't want to find yourself wandering around lost. It's a country where danger lurks around every corner, where survival is a daily struggle, and where the future seems uncertain at best. Next up, we're journeying to the world's youngest nation, South Sudan. You'd think a country born out of a long struggle for independence would be a beacon of hope, right? Well, sadly that hasn't been the case. Since gaining its independence in 2011, South Sudan has been locked in a brutal civil war, and the situation there is nothing short of heartbreaking. Imagine a place where violence can erupt at any moment, where entire villages are burned to the ground, and where millions of people have been forced to flee their homes. That's the reality in South Sudan. Ethnic tensions, political power struggles, and competition for resources have fueled a conflict that has claimed the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. The humanitarian crisis in South Sudan is staggering. We're talking about widespread famine, with millions on the brink of starvation. We're talking about a healthcare system that's been decimated by the fighting, leaving people vulnerable to disease and illness. And we're talking about a generation of children who have known nothing but war and displacement. It's hard to comprehend the level of suffering that's happening in South Sudan. It's a country where hope seems to be fading with each passing day, where the cycle of violence seems impossible to break. Chapter 3. Central African Republic, a nation held hostage by violence. Hold on tight, guys, because our next stop takes us deep into the heart of Africa, to a country ravaged by conflict and instability, the Central African Republic. This is a place where armed groups roam free, where the government has lost control of vast swaths of territory, and where the threat of violence hangs heavy in the air. Imagine a country where simply traveling from one town to the next could mean risking your life at a checkpoint controlled by heavily armed militias, where hospitals are overflowing with victims of violence, and where children are forced to become soldiers just to survive. That's the harsh reality in the Central African Republic. This country has been trapped in a cycle of coups, rebellions, and violence for decades. It's a complex web of ethnic and religious tensions, fueled by poverty, corruption, and the struggle for control over valuable resources like diamonds and timber, and ordinary people are caught in the middle, their lives torn apart by the constant fear and uncertainty. What's even more heartbreaking is that the Central African Republic is often overlooked by the rest of the world. The media rarely covers the conflict here, and the international community seems slow to act. It's a forgotten crisis, but the suffering of the people here is very real. Chapter 4. Libya, a descent into chaos. Our journey through Africa's most dangerous countries now takes us north, to a land once ruled by a dictator, a land now grappling with the aftermath of Revolution Libya. Remember Muammar Gaddafi? Yeah, the guy with the crazy sunglasses and the even crazier speeches? Well, after his regime was overthrown in 2011, Libya plunged headfirst into chaos. Imagine a country where rival militias, each with their own agendas and allegiances, battle for control of cities and oil fields, where terrorist groups like ISIS have gained a foothold, exploiting the power vacuum to launch attacks, and where human trafficking networks operate with impunity, preying on vulnerable migrants desperate to escape to Europe. Libya is a stark reminder that sometimes removing a dictator doesn't automatically lead to peace and stability. In fact, it can open up a Pandora's box of new challenges and dangers. The country is awash with weapons, and the rule of law is practically non-existent in many areas. It's a dangerous cocktail that has turned Libya into a no-go zone for most travelers. Even aid organizations struggle to operate here, hampered by the violence and insecurity. It's a country crying out for peace, but finding a path to stability seems like a distant dream. Chapter 5. Democratic Republic of Congo, a land of riches and ruin. Our final destination on this journey through Africa's most dangerous countries takes us to the heart of the continent, to a land of breathtaking beauty and unimaginable suffering, the Democratic Republic of Congo. This is a country blessed with an abundance of natural resources, diamonds, gold, coltan, you name it, yet cursed by a history of exploitation, corruption, and violence. Imagine a country the size of Western Europe, where over 120 armed groups are vying for control of territory and resources, where rape is used as a weapon of war, where millions of people have been displaced from their homes, and where children are forced to work in dangerous mines, digging up the very minerals that fuel our smartphones and laptops. The conflict in the DRC is one of the deadliest since World War II, yet it remains largely hidden from the world's view. It's a complex and brutal war, fueled by a toxic mix of ethnic tensions, land disputes, and greed for the country's vast mineral wealth. What's even more tragic is that the DRC's people have been betrayed by their own leaders, who have often been complicit in the violence and corruption. It's a country where hope seems like a luxury few can afford, where survival is a daily victory. Whoa guys, that was heavy! We've just explored some of the most dangerous corners of Africa, places where danger is a constant companion and where hope often feels like a distant star. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the scale of the challenges these countries face, but remember, behind the headlines and the statistics, there are real people trying to build a better future. Thanks for watching. If you found this video eye-opening, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Every like helps us spread awareness about these important issues. And before you go, let us know in the comments which country you thought was the most dangerous and why. Stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay safe out there.